All right. So we have just exhaled and had a collective sigh as we all entered into a new year, which is the proverbial reset, or many feel like that, right? A clean slate. I'm sure we've all heard new year, new me. But I want to point out the obvious this week, or at least I think so. Nothing will change if you don't. So for this week's hack, we are going to talk about habits. There's a lot of research on habits. And the reason why we are talking about this is because many of us have set New Year's resolutions. We've created our word of the year. And I really want to talk about the underlying principles that will impact whether you achieve all the things you set out to conquer this year or not. So your dreams need a strategy. So many of us have heard of the 80-20 rule, but I want to break that down a little bit more. And the 80-20 rule basically simply says 80% of our outcomes result from 20% of causes for any given event. Now, this is referred to as the Pareto Principle. So Pareto was an Italian economist. His real name is Pareto, and he noticed something unusual, that 20% of his pea pods generated or produced nearly 80% of his peas. Now, while that is not front page news, and you probably have never heard that fact when you heard about the 20-80 rule, but what it did was it helped ground us in something very simple that's used in the business world. And the 80-20 principle is very common in the business world for leaders to maximize or even identify a way to maximize what actions, what employees, what products, and what customers yield the best results. So what does this have to do with you? Well, if you have not taken inventory of your efforts that you took last year, the efforts that you even took last week, today, to be able to maximize those, you're going to keep doing the same things over and over. For you to figure out what's holding you back from doing what you know that you should. So what gets in the way? You are standing in the way. And I want to repeat that. You are standing in the way of you. There's a couple of things that we want to get grounded on to be able to apply this before we get into our hacks for this week, because I got 3 hacks for you, is there is no such thing as equality. Wow. There are going to be some people that listen to this. I know they've dedicated their whole life into fighting for this, and this is no disrespect on that. But if we look at the definition of equality, it's the state of being equal, especially in status and opportunity. I think some focus on the rights and they want to make sure that they have equal rights. And we don't disagree on that at the 5-minute hack. But if we really think about it, no two people have the same exact status or opportunities. Let's take it a little bit deeper. No two people have the same conditions. They don't have the same time. You may be thinking, yes, everybody has the same 24 hours. Well, if I have a child, right, that probably is not equal to someone who is single. If I'm a caregiver for my parents, probably not the same time as someone that all of their time is for them, right? So no two people have the same talents, and that's what gets in our way. So if we get that out of our head, that we don't have the same set of talents, the same set of opportunities that everyone has, hopefully that will get us unstuck. In fact, I want to give you a quote. In a high IQ job pool, soft skills like discipline, drive, and empathy mark those who emerge as outstanding. And that is by Daniel Goleman. We talk about that a lot in our EQ session of our master's program. Hopefully you check that out. You can enroll today. But if you didn't, think upon that quote. In a high IQ job pool, soft skills like discipline, drive, empathy mark those who emerge as outstanding. So how can you get motivated? You're like, okay, wait, we've gone through the 80-20 rule. We talked about equality. What does that have to do with me in 2022 and setting my goals? Well, how do you get motivated to create the discipline? A lot of times we'll talk about routines, but if you don't have the discipline to complete the routine, you can hire all the coaches, you can create the best meal plan, you can have the best workout plan, and it still does not get done, right? Getting those shoes on your feet and getting to the gym is a whole nother level. So number one, you have to get centered. Create a word that you will set as your intention this year. So if you practiced yoga before, then this is probably a common practice for you. If not, why is it so impactful when you think about this? It's because when your thoughts wander, you bring your thoughts and your breath back to this. So what is your word? That is the first hack that we want you to do. Get centered. Number 2 is create a domino goal. So instead of saying, hey, in 2022, I want to be able to achieve 22 things, or I'm turning 35 this year, I'm going to have 35 things I'm going to do, or I'm retiring and this number. We want to create one domino goal. And if you haven't heard that term before, domino goal is one thing. If this one thing happens, it ignites all of these other things. So I want you to picture a domino goal as a match, right? Like if you're starting a fire, a match. So you are going to light this, and then you want to write that down and think about what this one thing that will help you move forward. Okay, that's number 1. 2. Number 3, what actions will you take to make it happen and happen regularly? So when you're thinking about this hack, really want you to start with how do you make it attractive? This has been a huge unlock for us at the 5-Minute Hack, because there is a book that we often use and we read ourselves and suggest even as a team is the book Atomic Habits. It gives several principles in there to adopt, but one of the ones that is so profound is how do you make it attractive? For instance, what would you reward yourself with if you were to complete this one thing? Or what do I already do or like to do that can get me started? And this will help you align with something that's already easy for you to make this happen. Okay, so what habit can you attach with this example? So I'm gonna give you guys an example so that you can apply. So if you're curious about what my word is for the year, it is reimagine. Don't have enough time to go into that, but that's the word that I'm gonna be centered for. My domino goal is around creating time to rest, restore, and reflect. How I feel like I would make that attractive is I'm going to save money to support my investing goals. So if I do this one thing, which is making sure that I rest, I disconnect at least one day a week, how I will be able, if I do that, then I'm going to add more money to my investment accounts. So the way I'm going to have it stack here is connecting with my squad. I connect with them daily anyway and weekly. So I'll update them on my progress here. So that's also helping me bring in some people to hold me accountable. So if you're thinking, okay, this is a lot to think about, hopefully the small steps will help you create new evidence. It will hopefully help you be able to apply more time into what you're doing every day so that you can yield more actions. But this has been your 5-Minute Career Hack, and thank you so much.